All right, welcome back. This is week 2 of the Opinionated Facts Sports Talk radio show. This is one of your hosts, Jack Ruiz. I'm here with my other co-host, Brandon Rudolph.
Roll Red.
Oh.
Everyone calls me Red.
I apologize.
Don't mess the name up.
I'm here with Red.
There's only 2/3 of us.
It's usually better than what our other co-host calls you.
That's true.
I'd rather be called my government than that. But like I said, I'm your host Jack, and this is my friend Red, and we're here to talk sports with you this week. We're down one host. He's not feeling up to talking about sports this week. Hopefully he'll be back next week.
Battling flu-like symptoms, maybe.
Hey man, Jordan can play a finals game with them symptoms. I mean, our man can't podcast or radio it out.
And he's only like 15 feet from us, which makes it worse.
Give or take, but I'd rather take that than him throwing up on us or something. But it's been a wild week in sports, man.
It's been a great week in sports. McGregor, wow. I don't know if it was a setup from Dana White or was McGregor just that talented? Or is he back? Did he never leave? Is he focused again? I mean, it's hard to tell. A 40-second knockout, though,
I think
is impressive no matter who you're going up against.
I think Dana's pulling the wool over your eye there, man. It's like that Cowboy Cerrone guy was 4-7 now in his last 11 fights. Including
Cowboy, anyone that knows UFC knows that Cowboy, number one, he has the most fights ever in the UFC.
It looked like it.
He has the most submissions ever in UFC.
Okay. I mean, till McGregor hit him with them shoulders.
McGregor hit him with some shoulders, got him a little disoriented, and that head kick didn't help, and that was all she wrote. McGregor, regardless, like I said, anytime one grown man knocks out another grown man in 40 seconds, it's impressive. Regardless.
It is.
They're both professional fighters.
It's just the UFC tries to sell you this baddest man on the UFC sells you its product. It rarely sells you fighters. Like, it sells you McGregor, it sells you Ronda Rousey. It tried to sell us John Jones, but he wasn't cooperating and doing his part, end of the bargain.
But he's still one of the greatest, and he's still back. He
is. I'm just saying, they try to sell. They're like the NFL. They sell their sport, violence, and it works. And that's why they're doing the numbers. We're now at UFC 246, and pretty sure they did great numbers, but at the same time, they try to sell you that McGregor's the baddest man in the planet, and I've seen him get his ass whooped. Like, I'm losing count of how many times I've seen him get beat in different ways, whether it's by submission, whatever you want to call Mayweather did to him. It just gets to the point. It's just I don't really care until he beats another big name in their prime, and Cowboy really wasn't that. Cowboy's a nice guy to throw out there, but it really wasn't like impressive to me. And I'm not really a UFC guy. I just watched the fight prior to coming on air, and 40 seconds of whatever that was, and we'll see. They got to sell us a bigger fight, whether he rematches with Khabib, couldn't recall his name, or you want to sell us another Nate Diaz fight. I'll take that.
No, Nate Diaz is over. I've only ever seen McGregor lose twice. Once to Nate Diaz, who is about that life more than anybody that we know, and Khabib. And I still feel like the Mayweather fight hurt McGregor's career more than people realize, because it made him rich. He didn't have to work for anything anymore. He got $90 million just for fighting Floyd. So he's rich now. He's not getting paid $1 million, $2 million from UFC.
Got paid $3 million for that. That's another
exactly.
Dana White, man. I gotta love it.
Exactly, but he's the biggest draw in UFC, and he's getting paid as if he's Julian Williams.
Pretty sure Julian Williams probably got more money.
Exactly, that's my point. Like, he's not getting paid like the top superstar in his sport.
I think only Brock Lesnar.
I mean, he gets that kind of money, but he's just not. I mean, it's not. It's just UFC doesn't. Their payout is it's a little ridiculous. If we're just talking about the money, then it's not their knockout of the night prize or their
sponsorships kind of
sponsors, all that stuff. I'm not talking about just that. I'm talking about just the money they get for their fight, their guarantees. It's just not good. So when he fought Floyd Mayweather and lost to Floyd Mayweather, he was still rich as hell. He was $90 million richer, more than he's made in his entire career with that one fight with Floyd. So I think he just was a little unfocused, and he went to Khabib fight. He didn't care. He didn't train as hard. He wasn't focused. This time he looked more focused, way more focused. He looked like he had a good training camp. He looked like he felt good. He was still himself. And I feel like he wants to defend, or kind of, I think he was fighting more for his legacy this time. Wasn't about money, wasn't about anything else besides the fact that he's been making a lot of boneheaded decisions, and now he's back.
Well, you see it in boxing a lot. These comeback fights, and they give you a tomato can as an opponent. Whether you want to call Cerrone that, I don't know enough about. I just know his record, and I don't know enough about the guy. So he was allowed that. So moving forward, whether he fights Masvidal or any of these other guys, I just like to see a better opponent across from him. And if he does that to them, then we're back to the notorious Connor McGregor, and they can move forward and with all the antics. But
Dana White says the fight to make is Khabib again. If you get a focused McGregor.
Well, yeah, that's the big money fight.
That's it. That's the Pacquiao Mayweather of our time. If we wouldn't
in the UFC.
Yeah. So, but Dana's comparing it to like Ali Frazier, Ali Foreman. Those great classic boxing matches is what he compared it to.
UFC always has that little brother syndrome with boxing, and I get it. They don't have the history that boxing has, and it's okay, and they stay in their own lane, and they're doing great. Well, Dana White's doing great at money wise, and like Brock Lesnar and Ronda Rousey was making real money, but like outside of that, I don't get, because they don't have Reebok runs like their gear. Like you don't really see a lot of outside sponsorship, so it's kind of like these fighters, because there's nobody else to go to. It's not like boxing where you have all these different promoters. It's one guy, and that's it. So. That's what it is with UFC, and people love it, and people are always going to tune in, and the McGregors of the world, and whoever else is coming down the line, and there's always going to be great fights to be made, and I'm just here to watch them, or just catch them on my Twitter, because like you can literally put that fight in the one small video on your Instagram for 40 seconds, and that's how I watched it.
Yeah, and it was over that quick. It was an amazing knockout. It was an amazing night for Connor. I'm pretty happy for him. I'm a fan personally. So this past weekend also, 2 great NFL games on. We had Packers that probably didn't get off the bus against San Francisco. I think they pulled up to San Francisco Stadium and they never got out. Kansas City, Tennessee, also another great game. I think everything that happened in that Titans-Chiefs game, we kind of expected a little bit. Chiefs, again, start out slow. I don't know how many more times they're going to get away with that. Tennessee jumps on top 10-0 and then 17-7. And things were looking up until they weren't.
Yeah. It's just that style of play, running the ball and having your quarterback manage the game, it can get you far. We've seen it win championships for people.
A la Trent Dilfer?
Yeah.
A la Joe Flacco?
Yeah. Flacco made plays, though. But I get what you're saying. And they had an all-world defense. And it's just the Titans don't really have that all-world defense. But it sets up for a great Super Bowl matchup. And, the Chiefs and the Niners are, very explosive offensively.
What do you think wins games? Because we got the number 1 offense in the league versus the number 1 defense. Who do you think gets the better of the two?
It's going to be hard. Like, Andy Reid doesn't really stick to, like, the classic game plan of running the ball. But their screen game is just as good as a run. And with a team like San Francisco, where their D linemen are playing the run on their way to, trying to get the sack the quarterback, that might be to their detriment. So, like, if Kansas City comes out with some crazy-looking screens and, whether it's to Tyreek Hill or the different Williams or McCoy, if he plays, I didn't really see McCoy play yesterday.
McCoy was inactive yesterday.
Oh, okay. So, screens can really nullify that pass rush. But behind that, the way their linebackers play, their secondary, it's going to be a lot. But at the end of the day, both offensive minds in this game are going to cook up something great to watch. And at this point, that's all I want to see. So
I seen something today that kind of I don't know. I don't want to say it bothered me. It was. We become such prisoners of the moment because I seen it today and it was being talked about on ESPN and stuff. They were saying, is Mahomes the best quarterback we ever seen? And I'm like shocked at them talking about that because it's his third season.
I mean, the things that he's doing.
Yes, but we've seen this before. It's not like we've never seen people just go off. We've seen people go off before.
It's just when you see the way he can throw. It's like it's unfair that he got everything.
He can throw from different angles. He can move around the pocket. He can run a little bit. Yes, he can.
Touchdown run being an
he
example.
Does do a lot of things well. But we're talking about after 3 seasons, and he's just going now. He's just now going to the Super Bowl, and we're saying, is he the greatest talent we ever seen at quarterback?
Greatest talent? He might.
No,
he might be.
absolutely not.
The best resume, that'll tell over time. But the greatest talent?
How could you possibly give that to this man as his third season?
You sound so bothered, man.
Because this guy has everything. He has Tyreek Hill. He has Damian Williams. He has Sammy Watkins. This guy got so many weapons. He's got an offensive line that he barely even gets touched if he makes a sandwich. I mean, it's incredible. He has all kinds of time. I mean, behind that offensive line, I can complete a couple passes in the NFL.
Yeah, but you're not doing what he's doing.
I can complete a couple passes in the NFL. And I've never thrown a pass in a real game before.
I don't think.
I might have done some trickery. I don't remember.
You might underthrow Tyreek Hill. I don't think you're going to catch Tyreek Hill.
I would have to throw it very early. So as soon as I say hut, I'm probably going to launch it as far as I can launch it.
And that's 10 yards later.
So
Tyreek
we're thinking.
Hill's looking at you like,
I'm thinking about 40 yards. I can throw the ball about
40 yards in you?
Oh, absolutely. I might have 45.
I'm not talking about a Nerf ball.
No, I'm talking about a regular sized ball. A regular sized ball, I can get you 45 yards. I guarantee it. If I take more time, I can probably get you 50.
Okay.
But my arm's going to hurt afterwards with that one
throw.
One throw.
Yeah, we're talking about how many times does he put it up a game? 40, 50 times.
Yeah, I mean, I can get you 30. I can get you 30 every time. 30 constantly.
On paper, man, it's just everything, whether it's the arm, whether it's, his ability to run, the way he plays the game. Like, he's a generational talent. It's just we want to jump on early.
But is he the greatest?
That time will tell, because you have to be able to turn it on. But it's also not 6 Super Bowl rings later like Brady. So let's say he gets 3, 4. Like, you can still compare it because his defense isn't the greatest. He's put in certain situations, and it's just I'm not against saying that, but there's really no point because only time will tell. 10, 15 years down the road, how many Super Bowls will you have won? And that'll tell. And Super Bowls aren't always the barometer to say, all right, this guy was great, because Marino, great quarterback, never won one. Got to one, but it was just circumstances. Like, things just don't match up. That's why when your team makes a run, like I say, you're a Titans fan, and you saw your team make a run this year unexpectedly, you have to enjoy these things because you don't know. Let's say they do get a great quarterback, and you're expected to make these things, and the guy just doesn't perform well in the playoffs, then you're stuck. And so, like, when these playoff runs come and your team makes it to the AFC Championship game, NFC Championship game, or makes it to the Super Bowl and loses, you have to appreciate these things because it's not like Aaron Rodgers had a hell of a run from like 09 to like 14, and no Super Bowls. Well, one Super Bowl to show for it, and there was a time and place where people were saying he was the greatest quarterback of all time physically, and look at him now. He looked washed up and defeated against the Niners last night. He couldn't do anything right.
As an Eagle fan,
right.
Well, we're gonna get into that. We have to break for a second. I want to get into something about you being an Eagles fan, Andy Reid, and all that. So we were currently airing on Sports Talk Channel. We'll be back shortly. And we are back on Sports Talk Channel. You have 2/3 of Opinionated Facts here, talking all things sports. Before we left, I was in the middle of asking you a question. As an Eagle fan, you're an avid Eagles fan. I don't know how you felt about Andy Reid when he was the Philadelphia Eagles head coach, but is a little bit of you rooting for him to win the Super Bowl? Or you like, you know what, you never brought our city a championship? No.
What's it called? Vision. Your vision being 2020 when you look back on something.
Hindsight.
Hindsight is always 2020, man. So it's like when he left, there was a part of me that was really upset. But that's like, I forgot what it felt like pre-Andy Reid as an Eagles fan. It was embarrassing. It was nothing to look forward to. It's like my first memory as an Eagles fan is the fourth down game against the Cowboys. That's what made me. I just happened to turn on that game. I became an Eagles fan. Giving away my age there. This is back in 95. And from 95 to he took over in 98 or 99.
98, I think, but they drafted McNabb 90.
No, the year that they drafted McNabb.
Yeah, so
99.
It would have been, he got hired in 98, but we didn't have the draft until 99.
Okay, so
pretty sure.
Andy Reid comes into the picture. Don't know who he is. This is pre-internet. I was 13, 14 years old. This is my team. He was a quarterback coach in Green Bay. Andy Reid comes in, and I'm told, he's a Paul Holmgren coach and disciple, whatever you want to call him.
Mike Holmgren.
Sorry, Mike Holmgren, disciple, and he's going to bring the Green Bay system to Philly. And a couple years go by, and you have to build a team. So McNabb is a rookie quarterback, and we start to get rolling. And you take things for granted as an Eagles fan. One NFC championship game, 2 NFC championship games, 3 NFC, and you finally get to the Super Bowl. And then you had a great run there. There was no Super Bowl ring. There was no parade until after he left the city. And you kind of held that against him. And you, like, as a fan, you become bitter. And you just want one. We got that in 2017 from a coach that's off of his coaching tree, Doug Peterson. And everything is forgiven. I'm rooting for Andy Reid, and I wanna see the Chiefs win. Like, have other reasons why I don't want the Chiefs to win, but that we won't talk about that now. But I'm all for seeing Andy Reid. I don't know if he's gonna ride off into the sunset after he wins that Super Bowl, like we saw what happened with Cowher. He stayed around one another season after that, and he retired and went to do TV, which I think Andy Reid would do well on TV. And
if he gets fit under the desk. Because I feel like every game he's a bigger guy.
Hey man, he's a Hall of Fame coach.
He is,
whether he wins or not. That's his offensive mind and the stuff he's brought to the NFL game over 20 plus years now. And he's we saw Jimmy Johnson got into the Hall of Fame. Bill Cowher's getting into the Hall of Fame. You line up their resumes. I mean, the only thing is they have Super Bowl rings. Once you add that Super Bowl ring to it, he's a Hall of Fame coach, man. And it's just everything that happened in Philly prior to him getting fired, all the stuff with his son and all the disappointment of, getting so far in the playoffs, he didn't leave on a good note, obviously, but it just got to the point where a new voice was needed. Found out it wasn't Chip Kelly.
Whew. That guy cannot get a cheesesteak in Philadelphia without probably becoming a victim of a murder case or something. Holy crap.
Listen, I saw the funniest thing because it played out. Because 2 years after he left Philly, the Eagles won the Super Bowl. 3 years after he got fired in San Francisco, they're in the Super Bowl, possibly going to win it. It was called Surviving Chip Kelly.
Yo, they got to make a documentary on Lifetime about that.
If you want to get to the Super Bowl, all you got to do is hire Chip Kelly next year and fire him, and he'll trade away your best players, or if you leave him around long enough, and he'll bring in his sports technology and all that, but it's not going to lead anywhere. You have to wait 2-3 years later, and you'll get to the Super Bowl. So,
Andy, the only issue I've ever had with Andy as a coach is when he initially got hired for the Philadelphia Eagles. He was leaving Green Bay. The backup quarterback in Green Bay was Doug Peterson at the time. And Andy had asked Doug, come to Philadelphia. He's a free agent. Come to Philadelphia with me, and I guarantee you the starting spot. Which I've always had an issue with that. So the dude doesn't have to earn anything. He ain't got to do anything. He couldn't start in Green Bay, but they had a guy named Brett Favre, so I understand. Prior to that, I didn't know him to ever be a starter. I could be wrong on that. I don't know.
He was in Miami. He backed up Marino. He was always behind a Hall of Famer.
And rightfully so. He maybe, he earned a spot by sitting back and just watching greats. I don't know. But the only issue I ever had was him guaranteeing Peterson that spot.
But I think he didn't
without even having to do a thing.
He didn't want to throw McNabb out there from the gate.
Well, I get that, but before he even drafted McNabb, he had told him it didn't matter who was coming.
But he comes from that era. He did the same thing to Mahomes.
Absolutely.
He kept Alex Smith in there for the whole
year.
He
said, if you come to KC, I guarantee you the spot.
They went to the playoffs.
I get it. Mahomes, I understand. But different. You can't. What you're saying. If you're going to go in and you want your entire team to have confidence and all that, then you let it be an open tryout, basically. So whoever the greatest man will play. I think maybe Doug was maybe a little better of a quarterback than McNabb at the time, but McNabb was the better player. Right. If that makes sense. He was going to be an athletic. He was going to be young. He was going to be eager. And he lasted, all of 6 games or something like that. And, McNabb took over. And that was my only issue ever. I mean, he made some questionable calls in big games like our NFC championships. You could never seem to get over the hump. Once he got over the hump, which was the NFC championship game, and we went to the Super Bowl, he didn't necessarily call it the greatest game as well there. He seems to lose big games. Though? And they're playing one of the greats, they're playing with Brady and
Belichick. Cheat. The Patriots could have had the Eagles game plan.
I mean, I don't get into that. I don't. I get it. People want to say that that they're known for cheating, they're cheaters or whatever. I understand. I get, but no, you can only do so much with information.
We didn't really talk about this in pre-production. I know you're not a big baseball watcher, but have you been paying attention to what the baseball's done to Houston?
Yes.
Are they doing too much?
But
this is the same thing.
It's not, though.
It is.
These guys are winning
stealing signs with technology the way they were doing, and to the point that they had buzzers on them telling them, hey, this is a strike, this is a slider, whatever. That's crazy. That's way worse.
That's way worse than anything's ever done in the NFL, I think. That's worse than filming.
If you're filming signals and you know what they're calling in and you know already, like, all right.
You're throwing flat balls. Is that?
If that's what your quarterback likes. That's what your quarterback likes, then that's an advantage. And nobody else is doing. That's why they weigh the balls. And that's why it was a big thing. And the fact that they destroyed those tapes from the first, where they got fined $1 million, lost the first-round pick, 3 coaches got fired already in baseball behind one scandal.
Yeah, I mean,
one guy was just a player on the team, and he got his job with the Mets, and they were like, you know what? The stink is too much from this. We got to get rid of you. We don't want none of that on our team. So, I don't think the NFL did enough with the Patriots.
You know what I think with the baseball, though? This whole cheating thing, this goes back to steroids and all that. They don't want to not. Yeah, it's like they don't want to punish someone. They don't want to punish someone.
McGuire and Sosa kind of saved the game. So it's kind of like it's hard when you turn up your nose. Nobody really. They talk about a lifetime ban for steroids if you get caught. Nobody's been hit with that one yet. People get hit.
You got to get caught 3 times. It's like first time's like 80 games, second time's the entire season, and third time your lifetime ban or something like that. Right. It's crazy.
So that hasn't happened yet. It might happen, but when these unwritten rules in baseball, and it's like they say it's okay to steal signs if you're just doing it the old-fashioned way. But when you use technology and you're banging on trash cans or you're wearing buzzers, that's out of line, and you lose your manager, your coaching job, and how are you gonna make money now? They're not gonna hire you to do TV. You're basically blackballed. And I mean, cheating shouldn't get awarded, but I don't think it should have gone that far, because now the teams are you're punishing the fans to a certain degree. Your team's gonna suck, and you got used to it. Whether it's the Astros winning it in 17, the Red Sox won it in 18. Here we are a month before pitchers and catchers report. You fired your coach. You're looking for a coach a month before the season starts. Yeah. So it's kind of crazy, but I mean, you're trying to show baseball fans that you're serious about the integrity of the game. And like Pete Rose. Pete Rose got banned for lifetime for gambling.
He should be in the Hall of Fame.
As a manager.
He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Right, because as a player, they can't prove that he did none of that. So he should be in the Hall of Fame. Maybe this will make them revisit it, but I mean, that's where baseball's at, and like baseball used to be America's pastime, and it's not.
So
anymore.
you think the Patriots probably weren't punished enough?
No,
for their actions.
Like I see to a certain degree where you could vacate that title from the Astros if they were doing that much, because that's crazy. Like you affected.
I think it's impossible to vacate their title.
You can vacate it.
Who you want to say the World Series champs?
For that asterisk mark.
Like so, whoever played them. I don't even remember who played them in the World Series that year.
Dodgers.
Well, you say, oh, well, you guys are champions now? No. It's like there's no champion of the 2017 World Series. Man, like, who could do that? There's no way.
They vacated Reggie Bush's Heisman.
That's different, though. They're taking a trophy away.
Taking a trophy away.
No, this is major. This is a major league sport. This is in college.
The smell, man, it just don't smell good. It's just, it don't look good. It's just like a lot of these guys, like the Altuves, the Correas of the world, who are having Hall of Fame careers. Like, this is going to be... when it comes time for them to retire and they have all the numbers, 3,000 hits, 5 whatever home runs, and they're like, oh, no, they were cheating.
It'd be a little easier, I think, for people to vote for Altuve and them than it would be to vote for like a Barry Bonds.
Why?
You know why?
Because steroids are one thing. And
my
cheating,
point is, they think
you know what pitch is coming.
They think Barry was taking steroids for years. They think this was like not just a one season thing. They're just focused on that one season with Altuve and them.
You're right.
And I think that one season, that one isolated incident, people probably call it, where, this is not their whole career, where he wasn't batting with a monitor on his chest or whatever the case may be. Barry, they think, he's been cheating for years.
You're right. But it's kind of like to bring in the boxing thing, Margarito. He got caught after his biggest win. He beat Miguel Cotto. He goes into the ring to fight Shane Mosley. What do they find? Loaded hand wraps. You think that's the first time he did that?
Oh, absolutely not.
Exactly. So it's kind of like it's when you have to question.
I think the Astros were doing this for that entire season.
Maybe
I don't think it was going on before. I think it came out before.
That's the point. Once you get caught cheating, it's like it throws everything in the question.
The Patriots seem to get a free pass.
They do.
Like I'd hate to say, like Tom Brady to me he's probably the GOAT. Like I don't necessarily like him, but I respect his talent. I respect his resume. I respect Bill Belichick and what he's done. But have they pushed the envelope maybe one too many times for my liking? Absolutely.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying.
Yeah. And I think I hate to call it cheating. Like some things, I just feel like they were just trying to gain an upper hand. I don't know if they even like, oh, it's cheating. You do whatever you can to get that upper hand. They took it a little too far.
Yeah, what is too far?
And yeah, what is too far? Is it cheating? It's a thin line. Yeah. Like they get a pretty good free pass for a lot of things that they do. And I mean, it is what it is. What can you do? They're 6-time Super Bowl champs, right. And we watched them win 6 of them. Right. And we watched them beat the Eagles once, but we got our revenge. And what's how sweet it was. It was sweet. Anyway, speaking of the NFL, Odell Beckham Jr. I love the guy. Actually, I like his talent. I mean, holy hell. But so national championship game, LSU versus Clemson. I'm sorry, Clemson. You can see OBJ all over the place. He's all over the place, all in the field. I'm not going to say he's drunk. He was drunk, but he was hammered. He had to be somewhat intoxicated, but I don't want to give that to him. Number one, he hands out real money to college students.
They tried to say it was fake money.
Yeah, everyone tried to say it's fake money, but then the quarterback comes out and says, you know what? I'm no longer a student athlete, so it was real.
Is that dry?
And come on, dry snitching about Joe? We all... I think it's a tough thing to do to your own teammates, but
is he really an LSU guy? This is guys coming from Ohio State.
Yeah, but he loves LSU. He tried to change his name, you know what I mean, to Burrow, whatever. He tried to change his name to all that stuff. Like he loves it down there, but I think he shouldn't have said it. But anyone that has a set of eyes, that was real money. I can see that was real money. Yeah. I mean, this guy's not carrying around a loaded pocket full of $100 bills that's fake, and he's a multi-millionaire. Like what? Wouldn't make any sense.
I think at this point,
it wasn't even believable.
No, it wasn't.
Like it wasn't believable. So, I mean,
it was just extra. Like if it was,
did you see everything he did? You want to run it down?
I mean, I don't think he knows what he did. Like we had the issue with I don't know, the security guard or cop. in the locker room.
He was a cop because he was carrying a gun. Right.
Whatever.
Well, I guess maybe
I didn't see the gun.
Anyway, we got to take a short break. We're airing on Sports Talk Channel. We'll be right back. And we are back. Opinionated Facts. 2/3 of Opinionated Facts. Our other co-host, B-Way, he is feeling a little under the weather. So you do have Jack, and you have Red in the building, and we're talking everything sports on Sports Talk Channel. Before we left, we were in the middle of discussing Odell Beckham Jr. and his antics at the national title game earlier in the week.
In the day and age we live in, where there's a camera everywhere. Everybody got cameras on their phone. I don't remember last year seeing the locker room who won the national championship last year? Was that Clemson? When Clemson won the national championship, I don't remember the cameras being in there, them smoking cigars.
Who was there last year? Deshaun Watson.
No.
He was there.
Well, there.
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah.
Like OBJ was on their sideline.
Yeah, but
did he act a fool?
This is a different type of person. He tries to make it about him. But and trying to play devil's advocate here, do you think he's doing all this because he wants so badly to get out of Cleveland?
I mean, is that the way to get out of Cleveland? To act like an idiot?
You see when Antonio Brown did.
He's out of the league.
I know.
He's never getting back.
Yeah.
We need to discuss him too.
But do you think?
Oh my God!
Do you think he was that intoxicated that you smack a security guard on the ass? You don't think a warrant's going to be issued for your arrest? Is it in bad taste? Maybe. But your team, your alma mater, just won the game you couldn't win because he got to the national title game against Alabama when he was at LSU. They didn't put up any points. It's a totally different LSU. They're gonna be different next year because their offensive coordinator went to the Patriots. So I don't know how that's gonna affect them moving forward. If LSU goes back to being that team with the great defense and no offense, but that'll be told in the future. But Beckham, he was having fun. Like I'm pretty sure he wasn't the only LSU alum on the sideline.
Was he having fun? Like, this guy was a little too much to be having fun. I don't know if I'm going to call it that. I think
what they're going to have to do is make like a Hangover movie and piece together his whole night. Because like I've seen his night pieced together over the last week or so. Like there was a point where he was trying to post up Karl Malone and shoot air jumpers over him, which I thought was hilarious, on the field after the game. He has a bullhorn and he's yelling in the band director's face with a bullhorn in his. He's handing out money. He's smacking security guards on the ass, and it's just. I mean, is it all in fun? Was a warrant supposed to be issued for this?
I think they went too far with the warrant thing.
I get that guy was embarrassed, and I don't even know if he knew he was getting filmed. You don't want to. His grandkids probably showed him the video of him getting bullied, and he's in a position of power. That shouldn't happen to him, whether he's a cop or a security guard. He's in a position of power. He's telling a kid that just won a national title. Who knows if that kid goes on to the NFL? This might be his biggest sports moment to put out a cigar. Like, who's he hurting smoking a cigar? But it's like it was kind of like extra, and Beckham tried to intervene. Was it the right way to go about it? No, but I mean,
I think the security guard was taking his job a little too seriously for a group of men that just won a national title
at home.
They're in Louisiana. They're from Louisiana. They're smoking a cigar. They're, it's going to be some alcohol probably, like there normally is for the guys that are 21. I mean, there was a lot, but Odell, he may have taken it too far. He might have taken it too far. I mean, the way he stared at his backside before he even smacked it, I'm looking at this like, Odell, first of all, is hammers. He's got to be, because I can tell how he looked at the guys behind, looking at it a little too, he thought about, should I smack that thing or should I not?
I should.
Look like he was in a strip club. He wasn't sure he wanted to do that. Yeah. But he did it, and I think that Odell, man, he's hilarious. I think he's hilarious, but I think he's starting to remind people of Antonio Brown.
Well,
and that can't be that's not a good. He is though, he is acting that way, just a little more controlled. It seems like.
Well, he hasn't taken the hits that
Antonio Brown. If he's ever back in the league, I'd be shocked. I mean, I love his talent.
He's doing everything
I love his talent. I think it'd be a shame for him not to try to redeem himself. But if he ever can, I mean, the last situation with his girlfriend, the mother of his 2 children, how he completely disrespected her, regardless of what she did or how she did it.
And the cops, too.
And the cops. I mean, he was... I mean, it's no defense for it. I kind of want to defend him because I do like him as a player, but you almost can't defend it.
But it's not really about defending. It's about we love football. We love football. We played football. I never had issues with concussions, and I never had a concussion.
You think some of this is geared toward concussion, CTE, whatever?
And then
that's the thing, though. Now the CTE exists, we blame it on everything.
It's not really a blame thing with me.
It's like some guys are just mentally ill.
Are just not all there, and like whether it was growing up, their family surroundings, the way they were forced to. A lot of these kids, a lot of them didn't probably have childhoods because their parents were probably put them in traumatic situations, and they were forced to grow up before their time. But they were great at sports, so that was their way out. But that doesn't mean that it didn't affect them.
Do you think that's what's going on with? Like, you think OBJ has some mental issues he's trying to work out?
Not as
bad. Does he need therapy?
Maybe, but I feel like he's a narcissist, and he makes situations. There was no reason to make LSU. He's a Cleveland Brown now. There's no reason to make LSU winning a national championship about you. Like, if you want to hand out money, if you want to have fun in your own way, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of LSU alum there that we didn't hear about because they were just taking it in. Whether it was a guy that graduated in the 50s or somebody that graduated last year and just missed out on being on that team or whatever. They were there. They celebrated. Probably got just as drunk, but they didn't feel the need to have the cameras on them. And it's just like with everything going on with the Aaron Hernandez documentary on Netflix, it's just not really like just putting a blanket over it and saying, hey, CTE is messed up. Some of these guys might have the mind of an 80-year-old at 25. But you got to look at it, and it's rough. Like you don't have to take into account these hits that these guys are taking, and that they put what they do to make this money. Like a lot of them are rich beyond means, and it's they help out a lot because future generations are affected by that because they help their kids like along like they're good with their money, and it's just you got to take it into effect and not blame it all on CTE, but just say, hey. Damn, like how much longer do we have with football being like this? To where, like, because you're seeing a lot of guys retire at an early age now. Great players. Luke Kuechly, retired at 29.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck. The list goes, Patrick Willis. The list goes on and on. Like, you're seeing a lot of guys where they're like, you know what? The money's great, but I can't have my brain turn into mush by the time I'm 40. And CTE and what comes along with it, everybody's different. Not everybody's out here committing murders like Aaron Hernandez, but a lot of it disorients you, and you become a different person, and you burst out violently, and you can either do what Aaron Hernandez are doing, you can end up like Kellen Winslow. Google Kellen Winslow. Yeah, that had to do something with CTE.
I want to get into all that. I mean, I want to the few other things I want to discuss before we get into the Aaron Hernandez and all that. What? Bronny James, before we came on, Bron James, Little Bronny, well, I guess I say Little Bronny, I guess I'm talking about, when we say Bronny, we're talking about Little LeBron James. He was on ESPN 2, 3, whatever, and one of those, and a fan in the crowd threw something at him. Now, I didn't see this, you saw this.
Yeah, it was
it didn't hit him? The ref called it or something?
I think it hit him in the back, whatever it was. It wasn't anything major,
Right.
But it's just the act that people nowadays just feel so comfortable with the lack of consequences. And you can do and say anything, whether you get on your phone and show yourself cussing out LeBron James or whatever, and you get 1 million views. Like, what does that really do for you? Like, people will say and do anything. So that same person might run onto the court just to say they did it.
I think people forget that no matter your stardom,
well, you got kicked out right after.
You're still a real person.
Right.
So you're going to have real reactions and real feelings towards that. That's your child. So LeBron seeing that or hearing about that, because he actually responded to it already before his game, is someone throws something at your child, that's completely different.
Right.
Like, you throw something at me, I'm getting paid millions and millions of dollars to do what I do. I kind of got to control myself a little more.
Or you could be Ron Artest.
Yes. But, me being me, I'm talking for me now. If I'm a multi-million-dollar athlete that plays every night and a fan does something, I can control myself. I control myself a lot easier when things are done to myself than if they're done to someone that I love. Like, I'll probably won't go to jail for something over me, but I'll go to jail for my family. Like, I'll do life for any one of my kids. I'll do life. And so as a parent, LeBron James, that's different. Like, that kind of stuff will send you in a rage. Someone does something to your child.
And especially...
And it puts us in a tough, like, parents in a tough spot regardless of your stardom and regardless of how much money you got. That just shows you that you are not... I don't know the word I'm looking for. Like, you were...
Well, it's just, to use LeBron as an example, like, the only reason that person felt the need to target Bronny is because of who his dad is.
Exactly.
Well, even if on his own he's a good player and he's a freshman starting I don't know if he's starting. He's a freshman.
No, he's like 6th or 7th man.
He's a freshman playing varsity, and that at a elite program. So he has some kind of talent, and for some people, it's never good enough, and they're gonna always say, "Oh, well, he's only in that position because of his dad." Time will tell. Yeah, you can ask Michael Jordan. Like, his kids, the same situation when they were in high school. They got embarrassed on ESPN. We will see if that happens to Bronny, but
I think he's not, because he's a freshman. He doesn't start.
Right.
At some point, though, we're thinking, 2-3 years from now, he's going to be a junior, senior. He's going to be starting. He's going to be, every game is going to be sold out. He's going to have the target. People are going to want to cross him over. People are going to want to dunk on him. People are going to want to, they're going to want to be noticed by embarrassing him.
Right.
And that's the way you get noticed. So he's going to have it. What's coming for him hasn't even touched the surface yet. Right. What's coming for him? So him getting something thrown at him or whatever the case may be, there's going to be worse acts that happen. There's going to be worse things that happen, and hopefully he doesn't have to react. It'll be every time it'll be caught, and he won't have those things to worry about. But it just sucks as a freshman. So he's 14. To have to worry about stuff like that. Like, you're not bothering a soul besides playing a game, and you're getting stuff thrown at you for no reason other than the fact that people don't like your dad, and he's one of the greatest players ever.
Right.
It's terrible.
Or the greatest player ever.
So, we still have time to touch on women's sports. You excited?
Not at all.
I personally love talking about women's sports. And I have an issue.
They're a rebrand for 2020?
I have an issue with you not wanting to talk about them.
I don't understand why. There's a rebrand going on for 2020.
And I don't understand.
My co-host is usually on board with me not really wanting to talk about women's sports. But I guess new platform here.
No, I always want to talk about it. I just said sometimes there's not a whole lot to talk about. But we here now.
What about it? WNBA getting a raise?
WA got a raise. Get their own hotel rooms. They got the CBA agreement. That's a pretty good agreement they just got.
Can't get a raise if you're not generating no money, man. How'd that work at your job? If you guys weren't generating no money, you gonna get a raise?
Nah, they don't want to give us raises when we are generating money.
Exactly.
Let alone generate money.
Exactly. So
not generate money. No, heck no.
Yeah, that's what the WNBA
liable to
is
lay us
doing,
off.
Unless they're piggybacking off the NBA here. I guess the 2K money started coming in.
Any other real money? Any other real company? They went out of business.
They've been belly up on
it. They hung that sign, got rid of all the employees, gave them some kind of severance package, and they'd be gone. They'd be it. But not here.
No, because we need the WNBA.
Actually, a lot of bigger companies would have locked them doors and shipped the company off to Mexico
or Europe. That's where it's a big deal.
The WNBA just be glad they still play in America.
Right. And every year they're popping up with new teams, and I'm surprised Philly doesn't have a new team, a WNBA team. But it's good for them, and the elite deserve that. But I used to be really big into the WNBA. Not anymore. It's not really like a hate thing. It's just not. It's not something that I want to spend as an adult. You get very little free time, so it's not. It's not something I want to spend my free time doing, and it's not anything slight of them, but they fought for it. But they shouldn't be counting the men's money, and I see them doing that a lot. So every time somebody in the NBA signs a new contract, you see a WNBA player retweet it with the eyes emoji or being like, "These guys, it's $1 billion corporation." So yeah, that's why that guy on the end of the bench is making way more than you could ever even think about making. So like,
I think that Chandler Parsons signed a 4-year, $94 million deal back in 2016. I forgot he was in the league because he played 5 games all this year. He played in 100 games since 2016.
He might be done.
Yeah, I heard about the accident. Best wishes, prayers for him. Yeah. The reason why I brought that up though is because he's played in 100 games since 2016. He only played in 5 this year. He's under a 4-year contract, getting $94 million. I was like, wow.
There's nothing more American than that, though. Man.
I mean, holy crap.
That's the ski mask Hall of Fame.
Oh man. I'm like, I bet the WNBA players love that. But I brought women's sports up because 2 things. Sloane Stephens, who I thought was going to be the next Serena, is a bum. I hate to say that. But she lost again in the first round.
How old is she?
Sloane.
She's still a teenager?
No, she's in her 20s now.
Oh, so it's not like you can't blame it on.
Yeah, you can't blame her being young anymore.
Well, I don't know who she is. So
you don't know who Sloane Stephens is?
No. Does that say more about me or more about her?
I think if she was dominated Serena.
I know who Coco is.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I don't think Sloane wins enough for people that don't care about women's sports to know who she is.
It's not. Don't put words in my mouth.
I'm just saying.
At the elite level, the U.S. Opens, the Wimbledons of the world, I too.
Australian Opens a major.
I didn't even know it was still going on. I'm hearing about.
What do you mean it just started?
But
it's the first round. She lost in the first round.
I'm hearing about Save Koalas, man. I'm not hearing about. Come watch tennis, man. I'm not.
That is so terrible.
I hear anything Australia.
That is so terrible. First of all, big prayers to Australia, number one, and big prayers to them because they are going through it over there. They were worried about the air quality, but apparently the air quality was fine today. But that saved the koalas and all that. That's a joke. Don't say stuff like that. Don't say stuff like that.
You have to save the koalas. I've seen videos on Facebook about it. It's real.
Maybe I don't know.
Some lady pulled over and she saved like 6 or 7 koalas. I wanted to give her money.
Where did she put the koalas at?
In her car.
And she drove like that?
Koalas are dangerous.
I didn't say they were dangerous.
Kangaroos are dangerous.
I'm just saying. Do you trust a koala?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can trust 6 of them.
I think a pet koala.
6 of them?
A pet koala would be something to have, man.
A what?
A pet koala.
Anything that's a pet outside of a cat or a dog is just ridiculous.
Now you're getting out of hand, sir.
Who wants, like, I'll be seeing stuff on, like, Instagram.
You can just have a tree. You have a tree in your backyard and just feed it whatever it eats.
So what?
It's a cool thing to do. You want to take a selfie with a koala? I do. Just to flex on people on Instagram?
See, that's the thing. You guys live in this whole social media world, man. Everything's got to be a flex.
Not I.
Look, anyway, we're off topic. Coco Guaff, she is going to be amazing, I think. But I said that about Sloane's. So I don't
trust your judgment.
Yeah, don't trust me. No. But Coco did what she was supposed to do. But not only that, but she beat one of the best ever this first round. And that was, she beat Venus Williams in the first round. Again for the second year in a row. And made a little run. So, tells me she could be better. She could be getting better. She's only 15, mind you.
Yes.
She's kind of a big deal.
Kind of. Yeah. I know who she is, so she has to be a big deal. So I judge it like that. And
so
you don't try to force greatness on people. I remember when she went on her run in the summer, and people try to force greatness on her. It's just let it happen. We live in a day and age where people just get stuck in the moment. You want to call Patrick Mchomes the greatest quarterback. You want to jump on the Coco Guaff train before it even takes off, and it's just like everybody wants to be that person that said, "I told you so," and it gets old. Like,
yeah, I mean.
So, like, I get it. You just take these moments and let them live, and then they build a legacy. And, like a Tom Brady, you can't deny what he is because he's from year 2000 to 2020, he built his resume. And look at what it is now, whether he's cheating or not. He's already built it. It's written in stone, and it's done. And he's a legend. With the Coco Guaffs of the world, with the Patrick Mchomes of the world, it's going to happen. Injuries happen. Anything can happen, and next thing you know, you're talking about what he could have been. You can go from Patrick Mahomes to Derrick Rose real quick. Real quick. You know, like, they're talking about Derrick Rose getting traded to the Lakers, man. And
number one, Derrick Rose is averaging 25 points a year, 25 points a game this year. So he's actually, I mean, back when he was MVP, that's what he was averaging. So
on a minutes restriction, I thought. He can't play over a certain amount of minutes.
And he's actually balling out this year, and it's kind of a story that's really
but
hasn't been talked about, I guess.
He's playing for the Pistons.
Yeah, that's true, too. So, I mean, Blake Griffin's over there, so they get a little. But now he's out with knee injury. Not surprised.
No matter what, it's a trade, and it's hard to sell. And, you know, but it's just, yeah, just going back to that, let's not force greatness on people and let things happen. If Patrick Mchomes, well, that's 2 weeks from now. Yeah.
Well, I'm all here for Coco winning. Actually, no. No, I'm not. I said that, but I'm not.
Why not?
Because I'm a big-time Serena fan, and I want her to get her major.
Maybe her time
and I want her to make history. So I'm all for Coco getting to the semifinals or the finals, and Serena coming out on top. Coco will have her time, I believe, but hopefully it's just not this year. Even though I'm rooting for her. If Serena can't win, obviously I'm going with Coco all the way. Big shout out to her.
Your idols become your rivals, man.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what better way?
Well, Osaka, I hope I'm saying her name right. She is a big Serena. She's a big Serena fan, and she posted a picture of them sitting next to each other. She said mother and daughter or something. I thought it was kind of disrespectful.
The age differences.
Yeah, the age difference, but that's why she said it, and I still thought it was a little disrespectful. But we wanted to touch on the Aaron Hernandez thing, but we are running out of time, so we will touch on that documentary.
Did you forget?
I didn't.
Did you forget?
No, I didn't. I remembered the whole time, but I thought it was more important to talk about Coco.
I was going to make a horrible CTE joke. Let's not go
there.
That
is terrible. My coach, you have a sick sense of humor.
I do.
You are a sick person. I'm
going to try to clean it up for 2020.
You are a real sick person.
I wouldn't say that. I didn't say the joke. I just said, did you forget?
If you say so.
You could have
Shout outs.
I don't think we do shout outs on this platform.
I mean,
shout out to everybody. Thank you for listening.
You're right. We don't do shout outs. We should do shout outs.
We appreciate you listening to us, and we'll be back next week, and hopefully we'll have our third host with us if he can make it out of bed.
I'm gonna go shout out to Lancaster City Boxing Club, where my kids train for boxing at. They do a phenomenal job. D and Will and Fatty, all those guys over there. That's in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, if you were wondering. Also, shout out to the 7-letter family. Since he's not here to say it today, our co-host B-Way always shouts out 7-letter family because all the letters in his family, they're all 7, apparently.
I always wanted to ask what that meant.
Yes, all the letters. So they got Brandon, Breon, Tamika. So they're all 7 letters. That's why they do that. So shout out to him. Hope he feels better. I am going to give his little outing. It's going to mean a lot to him because he's currently doing all 3 of these things right now.
Yes.
Stay laid up, stay prayed up, stay out the way. He's doing all those. Listen to what some old folks got to say. We will air next week or see you guys next week or listen to you next week. Peace.